Welcome, listeners, to another episode of the Whiskey Dungeon here. I'm at the Marine with my guest,
Alex Chandler.
and we're going to talk about rums because this is the rum special, and this is the third special episode. So, might as well do that. So, originally I would have brought some questions, but because I came here early, forgot the questions. But thankfully, I've got them memorised up in the old brain section.
Well, let's find out then.
Right, so the first question is, what is your first experience with rum?
My first experience with rum was actually at a young age, and it would have been a dark rum, and I was not happy with it at all. But I was young. I would have been about 14 or 15, and I must have pinched them out of the spirit cupboard. So I'd give it a try and didn't like it at all. But at the same time, I tried other spirits and didn't like any of them either. I think that's probably a common one. I think for my first real experience of rum and thoroughly enjoying a drink with rum in it, I think would have been a pina colada.
Oh yeah, everyone's gonna have one of them in their lifetime, having a pina colada. But the interesting fact I actually learned, just shockingly, was originally it never had alcohol in. It was just a milkshake.
That wouldn't surprise me at all. That wouldn't surprise us at all.
Oh.
We drinkers do try to cannibalise anything that's non-alcoholic and make it alcoholic as quickly as possible.
From milkshakes to things that seems to be weird.
Yeah, anything that goes. I think the chefs are even considering trying to do an alcoholic ice cream, but I don't think that would quite work. We did a rum and raisin one. We made our own rum and raisin ice cream just before the lockdown, and the only fiddle there was we were going through that much of it, and we needed to leave the raisins to soak for 48 hours to warm enough rum up. So
that's always the difficult.
That was a bit different, but it tasted lush.
Oh yeah. It's kind of the same thing when I actually tried to understand the actual physics for sorbet. Because I went to the Little Haven and they would have champagne sorbet. I was thinking, how do they do it? How are they going to keep that thing from having ice and keep the taste of the champagne without having problems of being watered down?
Did you find out how they did it? Was it a...
No, they wouldn't tell me.
I would predict there'll be a champagne dressing over the top.
Yeah.
So I would predict, but I couldn't say for certain.
It's just that the actual owner said the one secret is you won't believe how much we go through champagne just making it. I was like, okay, I won't ask then.
So that means was he implying a lot or a little?
I don't know. It might have been even tons. But it kind of felt weird, but we're not going to be talking about champagne because we're here to do rums.
Back to rum.
Yeah.
First rum I started drinking regularly on a regular basis was the Barbados rum, Mount Gay rum. That was the first one I started drinking regularly. And then a few years later, I think Old J became quite popular. And we went through a little bit down that vanilla route. And then I think I've enjoyed Kraken, which is another good vanilla rum.
Oh yeah.
That's the one that we used to make the rum and raisin ice cream. That worked. More recently, I'll be honest, I haven't. The last 3 or 4 years, I've pitted off on the rum side. I was lucky enough to go. My sister lived out in Brazil for a while, and they have a big sugarcane industry over there. She lived in a state called Sierra, and the way that Brazil set their laws up is a little bit like how America had their laws during Prohibition. So you have each state, which is 4 or 5 times the size of the UK, you know.
Yeah.
But each state is only allowed 1 distillery and 1 brewery. So they get very passionate, very creative. They support their local breweries and distilleries the same as they support their local football teams. You know, there's a lot of passion about it. So the whole states get behind their breweries and get behind the rum distilleries, and the Yippee Yoka distillery, which is the one in Sierra, Brazil. I think it employs, through knock-on effects because of the pub trade and the farming trade on the plantations, it employs nearly 40% of the people in that state, which is astronomical.
Definitely, if you have that many people working there. rum factory.
Huge. Well, it's not just the factory. It's the factory, the sugar plantations, the distilleries, the distribution, the pubs, the whole network. They reckon 40% is in some way involved with the Ioka cachaça factory.
Oh, blimey.
Which of course then sets us off down the cachaças.
Just
caipirinhas.
right. I mean, the first time with rum, it kind of felt weird because at this point the only rum I had was in cocktails, and the major one was, if I remember, mine's trying to remember back. The first rum I've ever had was not a very good rum. It was Bacardi's, I think, because to me, when I first tried it, say, this is rum. There's not much flavour to it. That's even when you mix it with Coke or something else.
Well, I think that's why they were so popular in this country. I think we had the drinking culture in this country seems to be, well, it's particularly in the northeast, for sweeter drinks.
Yeah.
To diverge a little bit from rum, to go through that, if you look at things like cider sales in the UK, the northeast is by far the highest percentage of sweet cider drinkers nationwide. So maybe it's just Geordies have a sweet tooth.
Yeah.
Maybe that translates down to the mixes that we choose for our rums and things like Coca-Colas and stuff. But I think the last 5-6 years, rums have become a little bit more sipping, a little bit like more whiskies, and I think that's a good thing. It means we're not knocking them back as quickly.
Oh yeah, definitely, because if you knock them back too quickly, you'll get drunk and then you get smashed, then hammered, and you don't know where you've been.
Yeah.
That's what I've been told by my
Let's
mates
see let you know where
years
you've
back.
been.
So from that, we've seen many companies in different parts of the world make rums.
All over.
Definitely, and I'm surprised that when you look at other companies that have been through ciders, have tried to jump on the bandwagon, like Copperberg. They went into rum.
I hadn't know where they got into rum, but I know they've definitely gone into gin. But I think if you are a drinks manufacturer, then you have to expand your portfolio. And I think Copperberg would have seen that they were losing a vast percentage of their market share on the ciders to companies like Old Moot and other companies who brought like-for-like brands out. So they had to diversify, would be what I say. But I can't say I've tried. Couldn't say I've tried any of the Copperberg spirits.
Same here. I'm still wanting to try them. And officially, I went to Asda, and that's when I first saw it. A bottle of Copperberg rum, flavoured cherry. I was thinking, it could work, but there's a dark rum.
It was a dark rum as well, was it?
Yeah.
Very dark rum.
Could work.
It could work really well.
Idea.
It could work really well. We've got a dark cherry vodka, and that works really well. But I think rum is, like I say, I haven't tried it yet.
Yeah,
haven't tried it.
It keeps going on, and then I found out they did vodkas, and I was going, what? So they're doing gins, rums, and vodkas.
All from Copperberg, all from
Yes.
Sweden. Good luck to them. We'll get them in on a staff party and try them out one night. But, we're a bit, The one I've had lately that I've been enjoying lately is the Vanilla Dead Man's Finger, the black bottle.
Oh yeah, I've actually tried a few of them, especially the flavoured ones like the pineapple and hemp.
Well, we've got the pineapple grenade back there, but that one's been goes in fits and spurts. If you get someone on it on a night, they'll have a few, but they'll not have any more after that night because of the headache they get the next day from it.
But you can see why they're getting really popular with the different designs for rum bottles.
But I think there's been a massive shift in the marketing on the rum. So I think I don't know. You could hypothesize that something like the Pirates of the Caribbean has helped because that's the pirates are often considered to be rum drinkers. And,
because of the idea of the grog.
Yeah. So I don't know of any other. Again, I've been out of the loop the last few years. But I can't think of any other films where there's been severe rum marketing. No, I can't. That's Disney as well, with the yo-ho-ho and a bottle of rum.
I'm trying
to think if there's anything else. Where should rum go next? Have you ever come across any rum in food?
Puddings wise, yes.
Puddings, yeah.
Because you think of the classic bananas and rum with the chocolate. Because my dad taught me that thing when I went camping with the Scouts. You get a nice bit of rum, cover the bananas, put it in tin foil, allow them to cook with the chocolate inside it and melts up and gives you that kind of infused rum bananas.
So you'd split the banana, split the banana, put some chocolate in, and then cover in rum, tin foil, and go.
Yeah.
That would be good. That would be tasty. Now, would that be a dark rum? Wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be a dark rum because it allows the sweetness to work with the bananas.
Yeah.
Which
that would be good.
It's nice because you're getting something that works well with types of dark chocolate that you can get in the UK. Sometimes it works with dairy chocolate.
Oh, I will give that a try the next time I have a barbecue, but it's been a while.
Yeah. Sometimes my mum would say it would be better in the oven because you get more conventional heat.
Yeah,
flying.
That's why we have ovens that don't still cook on open fires all the time, isn't it?
Oh, definitely.
We've got a little bit more control, haven't we?
Yeah.
So, but then again, if it's meat, I do like a flame grill. I will admit that.
The only time I've seen rum working somewhere is Turtle Bay, and they've got food that's inspired with rum, but at the point in time I've been trying to get them on the podcast, but they've been busy and they haven't been able to get back to me.
And they're also, I think they're a big chain company, so you may have a few issues with most chain companies will have a press or some sort of PR sort of.
Yeah, at this point I feel like I'm just going in a loop just saying, let me do a podcast with you, you rum lot.
But it's actually one of our head chef's favourite places to go.
Oh, definitely.
For the rum cocktails.
Oh, yeah. You think
a couple of starters and a load of cocktails.
Oh, yeah, because I've just been there about twice. Once was when I found out about it, and then the second time was with my sister who wanted to try it desperately. Plus she was wanting to spend some of the cash she earned from work.
Yeah. Money to burn.
Yeah.
Money to burn.
I think with most rums, you can see them from the history channels saying about how they were the actual idealistics for the rum trade.
Right. I'm not aware quite what you mean. But
So basically different parts of the Caribbean like Jamaica and Trinidad that make good lot of rums because they were the first lot to make the rums.
So do you mean like some sort of like a protectionist thing where it can only be rum if it's from a certain area? Is that what you mean? Or?
I think more like they were the first people to discover the ideas of rum and its potential.
Right.
Then we tried to nick it off them and use it in the Navy.
I think we were pretty successful, but I don't know whether that's a good or a bad thing, to be honest with you. It's good.
Well, it was 50-50.
It's good that we've got a lot of rums around the world, but yeah. I haven't been out of the Caribbean. I think I would like to go. If I did go, I would have every intention of island hopping to see distilleries. I would like to see Barbados and the Mount Gay distillery. I think I have drunk a lot of their rum over a long period of time. But I wouldn't mind going to Jamaica, which is where the Appleton one is, and I'm not too. What's the one in Trinidad? I'm not too sure.
I can't remember because I keep trying to do a list on my own head and I can't remember that much, but I think I know they do some kind of special rum. I've got to re-look at that at some point.
Yeah.
But I actually did a quick look before you came, and there's one weird rum bottle known as Voodoo rum or Deadhead's rum.
Deadhead Rum, right?
which has a voodoo kind of shrunken head bottle.
Right.
And I was going, that would creep people out. They wouldn't want that rum.
Did it? Was it a glass bottle, or did it look like a weird?
It actually looked like a weird shrunken head kind of bottle.
Might be tempted to put it with the collection.
I think I actually saw it once when I went to Hogarth's.
Have they got one on there? Have they?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I haven't ventured in there since the
Lockdown.
since the lockdown ended, but apparently they had a change of management as well a little bit before the first lockdown.
Right.
I will pop back in and they've got real ales on, so I'll pop back in and try an ale, and I think I'll have a look out for the voodoo rum.
Yeah.
I'll try that, because what was the weird one that Kath had me have in the? Well, she didn't force me to have it. I willingly participated. I got her one. And what was it? It's a crazy one with some sort of alien demon skull bottle. That's sort of it's a head-shaped bottle, but it looks almost like a dark elf or a fiend of some sort. I'm not too. I can't remember what it's called, but it's about 60-70% proof. Absolutely lethal. I'm trying to remember what that was.
Sounds like a devil rum.
Yeah, something like that. It was something like Devil's Rum or something like that. That was.
I think my mum would like that kind of.
It was quite palatable. I can't. If I had the internet, I would Google it, but I seem to be short of some supplies for internet at the moment.
Right. Well, with my podcast, we also talk about board games and tabletop miniatures.
Right.
Because I like to try and keep a good balance, because a lot of people like doing the painting of tabletop miniatures.
I used to work for Games Workshop many a moon ago. Over nearly 20 years ago now. Is it more than 20 years? Yes, it's more than 20 years ago now. 26 years ago. Very long time ago.
Yeah, I've still keep on buying them and painting them all.
My friends, there's a few of my friends are still mad keen, still painting. I've saved all my models. I have an awful lot. When you work for the company, you get I don't know what they do at the moment, but you got a 50% discount of everything in the store. And then if you went through the mail order catalogue and went through head office, you just pay for the weight of the metal. So you just pay for the cost of the metal, which was about 15-20% of the actual. So, and then I went down for my induction and went down to the warehouse and just went through all the drawers and picked stuff out of all the drawers and carried it home. So I've got, I have a lot of miniatures, but I haven't done anything tabletop wargaming with Games Workshop sort of products in a long time.
Yeah, they don't do the metal ones anymore.
No, I don't even think they do white metal ones anymore. It all seems to be resins and plastics now.
Yeah, because it's more cheaper to do and able to ship out more.
Yeah. Well, we're not getting into Games Workshop too much. I have a few axes to grind, but I also think that what they are doing, they are probably the single best people at what they do by far. But I have a few axes about the way they implement it, but that's we can do that with any company, can't we?
Like so many companies trying to get on the bandwagon and try and beat them off.
Yeah. And I think they're going to have a lot of issues with 3D printers in the coming future.
Yeah, they're going to have sue wars.
Yeah, a lot of issues. When I was working for the company, it was around the time they had just relaunched. They were just working through the first batches of codexes for the 40K that had just come out. And the Tyranid army had just had its first revamp. So prior to this, you just had a Gene Stealer army, and the Tyranid armies were separate. And then they brought out the new Tyranid Codex, which brought out all new aliens and all sorts. And they just seem to be either. I don't know what came first. I don't know whether Games Workshop ripped Starship Troopers or Starship Troopers ripped Games Workshop. But there seemed to be an awful lot of things lining up at around that time. But I still play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons, which is similar. What other role-playing games? A bit of Earthdawn we're playing as well.
There's Pathfinders now.
Pathfinder. Well, we're on 5th edition D&D at the moment.
Yeah.
I haven't played Pathfinder, Earthdawn, which is like the fantasy version of Shadowrun, and then what's the other one? I'm playing a board game at the moment every Monday night, Twilight Imperium, and that's good.
Alright.
That's a good game. And that's doing that online. Someone set up it's a board game, I think, from the mid-90s, I think. It's like a global galactic dominance hex-based board game where you build. Basically, it was this sort of board game was pretty much wiped out by RPG computer games and turn-based strategy games on computers. But this one seems to have survived long enough, and someone's built a website to play the game on. So
yeah, I think that's the main thing with when lockdown happened. Board games and role-playing games became the major online hit.
Well, there's been a huge Twitch. Is it Twitch? No, what's the other side?
Twitch.
Twitch, and what's the other one? What's the other one? Discord. And
Discord.
Been a lot of sites set up for it. A lot of
Roll20.
Yeah, well, avid user of Roll20. But you can see it was coming. You could see the sort of change around the board games and role-play games was coming back, because you had places like in Newcastle. You had that. Was it called the Geek Retreat?
Yeah, it's still there.
Yeah, it's still going, but that's been going maybe 8 to 10 years now, has it?
About 10, I think.
Yeah, it'd be about 10 years. It'd be about that long. And there'd never been anything like that ever when we were younger. Even when role-playing games when I was 13, 14, and there were a lot of people playing them. Spin Planet was packed every week with the people fighting over what books to get. But that all stopped a long time ago now. Long time ago.
They've actually been trying to expand into different parts of the country. They've even wanted to try and open the South Shields one.
The Geek Retreat place?
Yeah.
Well, there's a few of us here wanting to start a game of Dungeons and Dragons in the pub, but it's a question of getting a regular
nightly.
It's getting into a routine of it. I think at the moment, I think it's a bit hard to get people to get to somewhere every week.
Yeah.
So then you go once a fortnight. Then if you go once a fortnight, it gets a little awkward. So,
I'm still trying to get myself my first game because I've learned some of the rules. I've got my character sheet. I've got my character, but no one to play with. Yeah. I've tried to do it, but the problem is every time I connect, I disconnect and crash.
Oh, is this on Roll20?
Yeah.
Bobs, is it, right?
It's always on the Saturday night where it's always busy.
So it's peak time, so it's something to do with the internet, the building where you are. That's what the issue there is, because I've had no issues here with Roll20. It can run very slowly at the moment. They put a whole load of updates on the last 2 or 3 months, and it's a little slower. It takes a lot longer to boot the page up when you log in. But it's really good, really good. And I think I haven't used it. I've been very lucky that one of my friends is a GM. He just invites us along to games willy-nilly. So I've been very lucky that I haven't had to go out and actually look for a game, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I've been quite fortunate. But I think if we did anything here, we would put a notice up somewhere. There's a few people here. There's one of the lads who works at the seafront is GMing. It's his first campaign and he's doing alright. He's doing alright. He's theatrical enough to get away with GMing it, so it's good.
Yeah, could never get around doing a Dungeon Master kind of thing, except I'm doing it as this part of this podcast. I'm the Dungeon Master and you're the Dungeoneer at this point.
I get you, yeah. I'm under the microscope today.
But the only things I'm good at is being a voice kind of actor, doing kind of villainous characters.
Play an evil warlock or something then in Dungeons and Dragons. Get a dark paladin.
Would do, but
that could work nicely with you. If you like playing evil characters.
At this point, the first character is an evil character called Megatron. Warforged Megatron in the world of D&D.
And what race did he go for Megatron then?
It's kind of the new ones with the Eberron
from one of the
campaigns.
right.
Yeah, Warforged.
Yeah, right.
The machine men that were created by dwarves to do war.
I've not looked at any Eberron hands-outs for the new 5e or anything yet. I didn't know. I'm like I say, I'm about a year behind on books and bobs.
Yeah.
The last one that I saw come out was not Xanathar's, there's someone's Tome of Everything or Xanathar's Guide.
Yeah.
Gone out of mind.
I've still got to get the core book because without that I won't be able to understand most of the rest of the stuff.
I would recommend if you haven't got many of the books, if you got the Player's Guide.
No, that's the one thing I don't have. I've only got the one where I wanted to learn how to make my Warforged character.
So the Eberron book.
Yeah.
Yeah, the important one's the Player's Guide if you're looking to get into it, because that's the one that tells you all the mechanics, what dice you need, how things work. Well, how your character works is a better way to put it, not how things work.
Well, I think with that, you think about how can you relate two subjects in one life. So you think rum and models, and then you think drunken paint sessions.
I was thinking drunken tabletop wargaming, but yeah, drunken paint sessions. I don't think a drunken paint session would go too well, to be honest with you.
No, you would have models that look so weird, you don't know if
you don't like getting the lipstick on, right?
Oh, yeah. But then I thought about pirates.
Yeah, pirates is definitely a way to go.
Yeah, especially with the Orc Flash sketch.
Orc Flash sketch. I know, are they rum or are they mice? Yeah, I've always put the orcs as more. They would be a sort of a moonshine, wouldn't they?
Yeah, the moonshine kind of thing. Yeah. I don't know, because when you think about the orcs of 40k, they could have tried to get the idea of pirates with grog and all that, but it could be either way.
Yeah, but the size and the stature and the constitution of an orc, it's got to be something lethally strong, like white spirit or something, even if it's their grog, you know? Because you'd always go with elves would be wine, wouldn't you? And dwarves is always beer.
Yeah.
So it's got to be something harsh and industrial for the orcs, hasn't it? Paint stripper.
Oh, they drink paint stripper even though the models they could die from it.
Don't spill it, it'll get my car clean.
Oh, yes. You know, the ships are made of jumbled mess.
I'm trying to think if there's many other alcoholics in the fantasy universe.
Space Wolves, because of their own Fenrisian ale.
Space Wolves, right?
Because they have their Fenrisian ale, which for some strange reason, if people have not heard of this thing, because I will say this, is a thing called If the Emperor Had Text-Speech Device. It's a funny series where they've allowed the Emperor to have a text-speech device to speak to his sons of the Space Marines.
To speak to the Patriarchs, right?
Yeah, and it has become an absolute funny spoof where the Emperor complains about everything, even about his own favourite Marines, Ultramarines, calling them Smurfs.
They've often been referred to as Smurfs.
Yeah, and he complains all about his sons. Even though the loyal ones, they should be his favourites, he still complains about them.
Well, that's not always usually the case, is it? It's not usually the case. The favourite one's usually the one who turns against you, isn't it?
Yeah, Horus.
Many others throughout history.
Oh, yeah. But I think that's...
I'm trying to think away from... I can't think of much in the realm of fantasy tabletop wargaming to do it. No, I can't.
Dark Elves are more for the end. Because I don't think the fantasy Dark Elves do that much alcohol.
No, I don't think maybe the Witch Elves have something to whip them up into a frenzy that they're in, but I doubt it's just alcohol.
Not like the Vikings. They would use alcohol to get into a battle frenzy just to go at the enemy.
Well, I think they would take just about anything, wouldn't they? They were definitely partially nomadic, weren't they?
Yeah, kind
partially
of
brutal.
brutal, heavy drinkers because of the mead. Which
I think they'll take whatever they could get.
Yeah, actually one of the
Raider society, wasn't it?
Oh, definitely. Especially when you find out that there's companies that will still make mead, but it put them in beer.
There's a few local places. Lindisfarne, Holy Island still has a good mead production going.
Yeah, I've tried that one. The golden mead from Morrison's. I've got it for about $4.75.
There's a guy sat in the pub right now who makes his own mead as well.
Really?
Yeah. That just over there makes his own mead.
That's impressive.
He's a canny guy.
Might want to try that at some point.
He said he's going to bring us a sample in at some point, but it's not made it this way yet. But it'll get there.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Well, I would like to thank you for being on the podcast.
You're very welcome. Thank you for coming down, and I hope I've been of some help.
Problem?
I hope it works for you for your university and gets you through your final year.
Yes, hopefully. If not, I'm going to go balmy and try and look for a job.
There are crazier things to do.
Yes. Delivering the house crazy.
Sorry?
Delivering the house crazy.
Delivering the house crazy?
No, selling everything in the house, like sell the PlayStation, sell your own bed.
Sell the tabletop war gaming.
Yes. Which I don't want to do.
Hold on to the tabletop war gaming stuff, I think. Like I say, I've got an awful lot of lead and metal miniatures, and I think, although the quality is a little lower, the detail on the models is not quite as good as what it is today, but
still reliable.
Yeah, people will always pay for the old metal miniatures.
Yeah, they've even made an app for that kind of thing.
Have they?
Yeah.
I've got almost a Dark Angels chapter up there.
Yeah.
So, Ravenwing, Deathwing, and 1,000 Marines.
And for the bit of sponsorship advertising, so if you've ever in the South Shields area, please come to the Marine, where you get a good lot of guest sales and definitely a good lot of deals on different drinks, especially on the rum.
Well, thank you very much. There's rums, cocktails, and ales.
Yep.
Ocean Road.